Here are a few still images and some commentary on the CMP Garand match held at the Lone Oak Rifle and Pistol Club in Longview, Washington on Sunday, 3 June 2012. I've shot Garand matches at this club before. It's a long drive from my apartment, but this club has actual target pits which allow authentic scoring, and they issue GI surplus M2 ball ammunition. I think they have some carbine ammunition too if someone brings a carbine, to level the field. Unfortunately, there was a very small turnout for this match, only 6 shooters. This resulted in only 1 relay, with no one working the pits during shooting. This also meant I had no slack time between relays to set up my cameras for video. This was the short Course A, 35 rounds in 3 stages. First were 5 rounds for sighters. My last match, on May 12th, was at Clark Rifles, where I'd been using hand loads, which I developed years ago to approximate the performance of M2 ball. They're a little milder than the GI loads, so to begin, I lowered my elevation by 4 clicks from the previous setting. I'm still having trouble with spotting scopes, which makes sight adjustments difficult. I have a $100 Chinese scope which goes to 90 power, but loses focus if you fire a rifle next to it. I also have a 26-year-old scope knocked out fast and cheap for Halley's Comet, which is very rugged indeed, and also quite clear, but only goes to 32 power. When another relay is working the pits, large marker discs are placed in the target to indicate where your last shot struck. These can be seen and decoded from 200 yards uprange, even without a spotting scope. Without someone working the pits, however, you have to squint and guess and curse your cheap commie optics. After the sighters were fired, we went downrange to check them, but did not paste the holes, deciding to use the convertible sighters rule. Also, one of the guys forgot to bring the target pasters from the firing line 200 yards away. Unfortunately, I'd already marked my scorecard with my actual sighters by the time I discovered this. Fortunately, I took a photo, so even though my official CMP score for this match will use the convertible sighters, I can show you my actual score. Here are my 5 sighting shots. The first was far to the left, but the elevation was good. I thought I'd pulled it left. I'm still trying to regain the skill I was demonstrating 3 and 4 years ago when I was briefly ranked in the top 100 nationally for Garand matches, so I tried again and hit low. Then I hit low again, and put 3 of the 4 elevation clicks back on. My 5th and last sighter was just outside the X-ring. Next was the slow prone stage, 10 shots, single loaded in 10 minutes for score. Now I started hitting further left, though the elevation looked good, so I went 2 clicks right. Even though I got 2 7s before making this adjustment, I ended up with 3 X's, which made me feel all warm and fuzzy. There's still quite a ways to go to regain national ranking, but I know the rifle is performing adequately, especially since the repairs I showed on this YouTube channel a few weeks ago. Another adjustment I made the night before the match was to replace the rifle's MRT leather sling, which I purchased new, with another MRT sling which I purchased slightly used, so it was a little more broken in. This was a little more comfortable, and I think it helped. Going downrange to check and patch targets, the usual etiquette is to swap scorecards with the shooter next to you so you're not scoring your own target. The next shooter had not marked his sighters, his scorecard was empty, so I applied the convertible sighters rule to his target as expected. But I had already marked my sighters. Regardless, the scorer applied the same rule to mine, so my official score for the first stage was 93 3x, but the honest score was 87 3x. I need more bench time and a better spotting scope so I can see what is actually happening downrange without having to hike there. The second stage in Course A is rapid prone from standing, 10 rounds in 80 seconds. Usually I go much too fast in this stage, lose control of my position, and pull shots off the center in some direction or other. This time, being unaccustomed to firing the M1 as a repeater, I feathered the trigger and fired the second round negligently off the paper, though it would still have struck the backstop. My reload was not difficult since I was using GI rounds instead of the overlength rounds I erroneously made for the previous match, and for the following 8 rounds I remembered to follow through on the trigger. But, as with the previous match, my concentration was broken and my shots were scattered, to say nothing of the missing shot, which cost me a potential 10 points. Next time I practice with the M1, I'll have to remember to fire some rounds from a clip as a repeater to improve my trigger technique. My score for this stage was 70 0x, with no question about validity, as the convertible sighters only apply in the slow prone stage. Finally, the third stage is slow standing, 10 rounds in 10 minutes, again single loaded. I am regaining some skill in this stage, taking my time and telling myself I'm only dry firing, allowing each shot to surprise me. My score for this stage was 80, 0x, though I am still flinching, pulling one shot low into the 7 ring and another high into the 5 ring. My total official score was 245 3x, with my actual score being 239 3x when counting actual sighters as opposed to convertible. Lessons learned: more practice, lots more practice. I must remember what I was taught at Appleseed. Find the natural point of aim. Use as few muscles as possible. Let the sling and the earth hold up the rifle. Plant the bones, not the flesh. I must also give vent to a peeve: filling out the scorecard correctly. I have seen this many a time, at many a match, from many a fellow shooter. The instructions and examples for correctly filling out the scorecard are illustrated on the back of the card. A hit in the X ring is scored as 10 points, and a miss is scored as 0. Please do not write X or M in the score box. Write 10 or 0 and fill in the circle indicating a miss or an X. My understanding is that CMP runs these scorecards through a scanner for optical character recognition, so it's important to fill them out correctly and clearly. The next Garand matches will be held at Clark Rifles on 14 July and 1 September, and at Lone Oak on 4 August and 11 November. This year, Clark Rifles is holding the longer Course B matches, while Lone Oak holds the shorter Course A. There are CMP-affiliated clubs across the country, usually with M1 rifles to loan and GI ammunition to purchase. Completing an official match earns you a certificate which allows you to purchase rifles from the CMP. Find a CMP-affiliated club near you at the CMP website, odcmp.com. 2 more matches of similar format, with largely identical equipment and rules, will be held at Clark Rifles: the Pig, Politically Incorrect Gun, on 9 June, and the World War II theme Allies vs. Axis match on 10 November. If I overheard correctly, there may be another World War II theme match at Lone Oak in December, commemorating the Battle of the Bulge.